Hello, this is a session walkthrough of the song Sweet Honey from my album VX1. We'll be going through and looking at all the components that went into making the song, from all the things that we tracked here. A little bit before that, I kind of want to go through like the history of this song. So essentially, when I first started writing this song, it started from that from like the chorus. Essentially, is this tagline. So that ended up being like that main I think it's here. No, the big chorus. So that's kind of the part of the song that came first. Everything else came after. And then, so when I was writing the song, kind of a bit of it was trying to figure out what kind of lyrics and things would go into the song, and part of it is sort of like what I wanted to do around that, right? And I think so. It's funny. Sweet Honey. I guess like the song I was trying to style it kind of after like that. Almost like that kind of Justin Timberlake kind of feel, where it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like half his songs are like oh, I'm gonna sing about this one thing that, and I'm gonna make it sound like it's like about like drugs and sex or whatever. And so that's kind of what this came from. This actually, the song though was inspired by a jar of honey that it was just really good. I don't remember. It was like something from the farmer's market. I was just eating it out of the honey jar. It was delicious. But then I just wanted to make it sound like that kind of space where it's just sort of like, oh, singing this song about love and like love at first sight or whatever, and like uh whatever. Yeah. So that's what that song's about. But essentially at the same time, I kind of like was doing two things, right? So first I started playing around with that tagline. So you hear it in like, I just load this up in like some Reaper track or something and kind of just like put a bunch of voices around it. So just kind of playing with that. So trying to figure out all the textures and kind of ideas that we want to, what kind of feel we want for the song. It did start out a bit slower than it ended up being, and a bit more relaxed. At first it was kind of a chill song, and it ended up being like this more big song kind of thing. The other version was I was playing around with chords and lyrics on the piano. So I never quite got your name, I only got your feel. A little bit warmer than most, a little bit too surreal. Floating around in space, in the clouds, or a place or space. And around that time, also, I was like I was charting out some stuff too, because this one was a little bit more organized than some of my other songs in terms of what I was trying to do, because I think some of the chords I planned out a bit more in the song. Never quite got your name, I only got your feel. A little bit warmer than most, a little bit too surreal, floating around in space. So I think a lot of times, like if a song has more complicated chords, I tend to try it out a little bit more. Also, the bass line was a little bit planned out in this one. So I used MuseScore in this case to kind of chart it out a bit more. Let's see. Never quite got your name. As with a lot of my other songs, like once I start arranging a bit more, I kind of put it into electronic form. This bit kind of made sense to me as well, because this song is supposed to feel like very big and very electronic type song. So this kind of gets the feel of the song a bit more. Like my vision flowing, like this how to keep rolling. I got too much sanity. I think this is still the same tempo as my earlier versions too. It's kind of a bit slower. So that's something that actually picks up a bit later when I get into like later versions of the song, because it just felt like it was pulling back a little bit, and it didn't feel as exciting. And I kind of started trying to transition it into acapella. At this point, like all that verse stuff is I've kind of figured out what I want to do there. The problem with this one was that I couldn't figure out how to make the chorus big. I was trying a lot of different things, but this one is very bare. Then eventually I started getting towards like what the actual song sounds like. Oh, minus this intro that kind of stuck around for a little bit and went away after there. But
I never quite caught your name, I only caught your view. A little bit warmer than most.
yeah, but I mean that's kind of where that song started to sound like the song that is on the album. So yeah, in any case, that's kind of the history of that song and how it kind of came about. I mean, I skipped a bit of stuff, but like that's the general idea. And this is the session. So this is pre-mix session. There's like I've added effects and stuff before I sent this off just to hear what it sounds like. But this is pre-mix and after editing. So all the tuning, all of the like timing correction, all of that stuff has already been done at this point. So that's kind of the state of this session that we're about to look at. I've also like removed a few things just for this video, like reverb and delay, so we can kind of hear the parts a little bit better individually. But yeah, so a lot of them, as with most of my other sessions in this album, I've got like my percussion, which is all vocal percussion stuff. I've got my my bass line, which is a little bit bigger in this song than most of my other songs, and then I've got a bunch of various vocal parts. So yeah, starting with the percussion, essentially this is one of the bigger songs, so I kind of really depended on the drum machine a bit more. Again, this is like my vocal drum machine that I have that I've been using throughout this album. It is a consistent set of sound throughout the album too, which kind of gives a little bit more cohesiveness. But so there's different sounds. These are all vocal percussion sounds. Most of them are stereo sounds that are just two takes that are hard pan left and right. Exception being some of like this like low stuff. One sound that's pretty unique to this song is this thing called the mega kick, which is basically just like a really like a but I pitched it down an octave in a lot of cases, or pitched it down. Yeah, this one's an octave. See that? So it's just basically that big sound that you hear during the choruses. I think it's around here. Yeah, so that's just to make it sound big. But yeah, so this one, because I was really going for the bigness, I wanted to really rely on these drum machines. I think this one, this is just a second. I think I just had that first separation of ideas, but essentially, yeah. And then we've got this spit track that's basically just makes it feel a little bit more natural. For this one, I didn't split it, I don't think. It looks like, which I'm guessing is, so it's probably just there mostly for texture. But this is like your actual like just go through take. This is all like one thing, but this has all just been combined. This is like a bazillion takes that have been edited and everything. Also, in this song, there's back in this ending section, there's kind of like this. I wanted to kind of have this be a dialogue between the different percussion sections, which is partly why I have this drum machine too. They're kind of meant to be like dueling percussion. There's like 3 parts, and you can kind of hear them enter by they use the same phrase at the beginning. So the idea is that you've got these 3 different percussion sections that kind of hit and fill each other in, but I wanted to hear them separately and then have them kind of combine at the end, and you hear them like come together with those like which is kind of a common thread throughout this song. I think here, let me play it in context. Yeah, so that's kind of like a percussion solo, I guess. And that was kind of like the more unique parts of this percussion. I think a lot of these ones are just kind of one-offs. I think this was just a sound that I made during the spit take that I liked. I think, yeah, so I kind of just reused that a couple times because I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's see, buzz. I'm not sure what that is. Oh yeah, that was in the like that middle section. That's just a little one-off for fun. But yeah, that's basically the percussion for this song. The bass line, the bass and the drums play a big part in this song, obviously, just because like the bigness of it. Especially in this middle section. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more when I talk about some of the pads. The bass line is, you already see that this bass has like more pieces than in most of my other ones. I think it was also very heavily in that 8VB, like octave down kind of sound. Yeah, this one was a little bit one of the harder bass lines to do, just because it's a long, not very repetitive bass line, and the bass kind of varies throughout each part of the song. And then goes to the big part. This is the most repetitive part of the song. And then this last line is basically just a texture thing. The only reason it's in this group is because it follows it directly. Yeah, otherwise I don't think there's too much super interesting about this bass line. I kind of tried to make it a bit fuzzy. I was trying to make it sound like a rock band kind of thing. Like you're definitely like hearing it through like an amp and some stuff. Let's see. I think the harmonies are mostly pretty direct throughout this song.
Your sweet honey.
And a lot of them, there's a lot of counter melodies and stuff.
Your sweet honey. Your sweet honey. Yeah.
The choruses, there's a lot of competition between those ones. And this 01, I think. Yeah. And as with a lot of my other vocal lines throughout the other songs, all these individual lines are just stereo track, hard pan left and right with two different voices. And I just wanted to make it sound big. This is just a little accent that I have at the beginning, kind of changing the feel of it a little bit. And that was kind of like that. Was kind of like the original sound that kind of came with that melody, so I wanted to keep it in there a little bit just for fun. Let's see. And I think this is a pretty similar. Oh no, this is one of those middle section melodies. Other than that, I think like the lead is pretty straightforward. Lead is just a mono with that stereo dub of takes that I could just play in the background.
Never quite got your name, only got your feel. A little bit warmer than most, a little bit too surreal. Floating around in space, hitting the clouds, so out of place, so out of space.
Oh, it looks like I cut it off at some points. I thought it was a gate, but it's automation.
Had to keep rolling, I got too much sanity, too much control.
Yeah, so I think I just wanted to add a little spice to certain parts. This is obviously going to be all playing during the choruses.
Oh, yeah.
And then in that big section towards the end, we've got the I believe this is that. Yeah. This one was kind of fun. I kind of modified the first round and the second round. So this is all like that major key kind of harmonies, and then switches to minor. That was kind of fun to play with. Then I have this like weird electric guitar thing that's going on. So this is one of those multi-sound kind of things that I like to do. You notice that they've got the buzz sound and the ooh sound, and you can combine them in order to make that electric guitar thing. Yeah, so you got the psst sound and the ooh sound. And combine them to make your kind of wail. Yeah, so it's kind of like its own little I don't know, amp sound, vocal amp thing. Let's see, harmonies at the end are same.
Your sweet honey.
But yeah, so that's most of the song. The only other thing really is that middle section. The middle section is kind of fun. So essentially in the middle section, it's really driven by this first two pad and the percussion and the bass. Kind of. So like that feel comes kind of like from this this gate that's sidechained to the kick. So you'll hear this pad kind of go. And it's basically just cutting out when the kick's coming in. So if I turn that off, you'll hear it's just, and it's all like auto pan chorus and whatever. So the actual like sounds like that. And I really wanted it to sound very electronic. That's why you also hear the vocal scoops in there. So kind of like letting that all play together kind of comes out back into that kind of like that thing. So that's where the feel of that section comes from. And then on top of that feel, we got like some competing melodies that kind of fade in and out throughout that whole middle section. We've got the dum melody, just the dum 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 dum. And we got the O melody. Oops, or the. And then you got the lead, which is doing its own thing.
Like this rhythm flowing.
So you hear those
like
together.
How to keep rolling. I got too much sanity. A little bit sweeter now. Taste of liquid gold. This unsuspected love. It's not what I was told. I didn't expect that it.
Play that kind of over the bass is also its own like little thing too. Kind of throws you off balance a little bit. And percussion kind of adds that little bit of got that little like hi-hat thing that's kind of going around. Shaker, there we go. Which is also kind of a fun thing. But yeah, so that's kind of the feel of that. This one I kind of brought in this spit drum take to kind of like give it a little bit of a different feel there. So that one's kind of its own separate. I don't remember if we put an amp on it or anything in the song, but it kind of changes the feel of it a little bit. Yep, and then it goes back to that big chorus again. Yeah, so that big chorus is like you hear a lot of that bass kind of comes in, and then it goes to like that halftime kind of feel, like the percussion feel that changes. But yep, that's basically a quick walkthrough of Sweet Honey. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.